Broadcast for shooters, hunters, and gun enthusiasts. This is the Firearms Radio Network. The bandwidth for this episode of the AR-15 podcast is sponsored by Patriot Patch Company. PatriotPatch.co.
Welcome to the AR-15 podcast. This is the podcast about your favorite black rifle. This show is for you. Whether you're building your first AR or you've been building ARs for years, there is something we can all do to take our black rifle to the next level.
You make this show possible by clicking through our Brownells and Amazon affiliate links. The next time you order online, go to AR15podcast.com and click through our Brownells and Amazon affiliate links. It doesn't cost you anything extra, and a small portion of your sale goes to supporting pro-gun radio like the AR-15 podcast.
Well, hello, listeners. This is episode number 150 of the AR-15 podcast, and tonight we're going to get a little bit of feedback from all of the co-hosts about a prospective holiday gift guide. You and your life. So, the holidays are coming, and we have big promises from JD to get us a couple of weeks of respite with a best of series of podcasts. So keep your eyes open for those. And unless I get a suitable number of requests not to, I may put on a Christmas Eve holiday poem reading once again, just for your benefit, because the last one I really enjoyed. But I will, honor your request to not burden your ears or, make you hear something you can't unhear if enough of you send your request in. But with that, we just gave away our both of our prism optics, our Vortex prism optics, and so one of them is actually in the hands of William McComber, and he is the winner of the veteran-given 3-power Vortex prism, and so we still have our winner of the 1-power Vortex yet for us to get in touch with, so we will be reaching out to him, and we'll get that off to him. JD, did you say you shared a picture of William's 3-power Vortex already up on our Facebook page?
Yeah, it's up there. It's the top post right now. He posted it yesterday, and I showed it on his AR, so he's really excited about having it.
Well, that's always good stuff. Well, so William, thank you for your service. We hope that you put that all to good use, and just have a good time with it. So, well, guys, it's getting real close to the holiday season once again, and so just kind of a show of hands, affirmative or not, do any of you have wives that are going to be real interested in getting any of these things? I don't see any affirmative responses.
Yeah, I've already kind of ordered some things myself and told my wife, yeah, go ahead and you don't need to get me anything extra, because I kind of already covered it.
I'll never forget my father-in-law telling the story of the pistol he got for his wife for Christmas and how apparently that did not go over well. But yeah, I'm not thinking I'm going to be getting my wife any of the things off of this list. But if you are the wife of one of our listeners and your husband forces you to listen to this and you haven't decided to file papers for divorce because of it, but in fact would still like to buy him something that fuels his addiction to the very thing he listens to, then by all means, we have your medicine right here. So, do either of you want to go first, or are you going to make me lead in with my list here?
I could start off here. It's pretty late on the East Coast, so I don't know if I'm going to be able to stick with you all night here. Traveling for work, but I was able to dial in from the hotel, so you got to forgive me if I drop out here. the first item I threw down was something that I've really been eyeing for one of my builds, and also one of my buddy who's really looking for one of these, and it's the Law Tactical Folding Adapter. They're now onto their 3rd gen here, so they've made some improvements. This one's available for, I want to say, between $250 and $300, and it's not something that's going to change the operation of your gun. It's not like you can run your carbine with the buttstock folded over for more than one shot, but it's something that in the folded position you can store your carbine, whether that's in like a concealment bag like we talked about, whether it's in the vehicle somehow. It lets you fold down your buttstock so that your receiver extension is able to run alongside the receiver in its folded position, and then you can just click it right open and go to town with it. So it's a really cool piece. They've made some improvements, like I said, and I would love to have this to maybe throw into my SBR build just to make it that much shorter.
Well, that sounds good. What else do we have here, JW?
The other one's a must-have for anybody is ammo. I know I could have gone crazy with a bunch of gadgets and widgets and fancy optics. There's been some really cool sales lately with Black Friday and all that, with some of the new red dots out there. The MRO is really nice. But before you get into tricking out your rifle, you got to make sure you've got a good supply to feed it with, that you can practice, you can develop your skills, that you can maybe prepare a little stockpile just in case prices go through the roof with election season coming. So I'd say definitely get some ammunition if you can stock up. Find a good deal here with the holidays coming around. I actually found a local distributor that has a whole warehouse full of stuff that we can get a great price from if you show up with a wad of cash and a truck that you're willing to load up yourself rather than having to pay for shipping. So put some ammo on your list.
Wait, why is there an echo? Okay, how big a wad of cash are we talking here?
Well, it all depends on how many thousands of rounds you want to take home with you.
1,500?
Yeah, I mean, when you come up with a website that only sells ammo by the 1,000, you've found the right place.
Wait a minute. How much of a discount do you get if you show up with a truck? That's what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah. Well, next time you come here through Pennsylvania, then we can swing by and we can stock you up.
All right. I'm going to hold you to that.
Kind of like I just said, before you start tricking out your gun too much, you want to dedicate some of your rifle budget to learning how to use it. So I would definitely put a training class on your Christmas list. A lot of guys run certificates that you could buy for a loved one, so you don't have to necessarily know their schedule for the whole year. You could get them a gift certificate. In the show notes here, I've listed a couple different places that you can go here locally in Pennsylvania, Western Pennsylvania. I've worked with John at Three Rivers Tactical. His website's got his 2016 schedule up, and right now he's running $100 off all his classes from Black Friday for the next week or so. Kind of expanding regionally. I've done a bunch of things in Alliance, Ohio at their facility. They've listed their courses that are being offered by guest instructors from Sentinel Concepts and EAG, among others, all just top-tier instructors that are very down-to-earth and are willing to have new shooters at some of their introductory classes, as well as some really high-level training for the guys that are looking for that and are able to kind of keep up with that. So there's some links there. One thing that I'd love to get into at some point more on the national level is some of the Magpul Core classes that are run by Kalen. He's one of their long-range instructors. Some of the guys that are doing the product development for some of the new Magpul products are actually instructing as well. So Kalen's one of the guys that does the long-range classes in Washington and Wyoming. I'd love to make it out to one of those sometimes. I know there's kind of the art of the dynamic carbine and the dynamic pistol and that whole little more celebrity-based training, but there's some pretty cool courses, it looks like, that Magpul Core is running that I'd probably be interested in hitting up at some point here for stretching the distances a little further. Next item here is reloading components. This is a great one that if you have paid attention to your loved one's reloading habits, you might see some empty boxes around the reloading layer, and you could resupply them, whether that's with projectiles, whether it's the same bullets that they've been loading a bunch of, or whether it's maybe trying some different ones to see if your rifle might like something else better. If it's keeping an eye out at the local gun stores and seeing when they get a powder shipment in, if there's some hot powder that you've been trying to track down, you really don't want to pay that hazmat fee. Reloading components are pretty easy because you can get them in huge bulk quantities, or you can get smaller quantities that make great stocking stuffers. Like a 1 pound thing of powder would really just top off a stocking perfect. I got another one here just because I talk about it all the time, and that is rattle cans of spray paint. I would encourage anyone to give it a try to spray paint a rifle if you want to try a different color scheme or camouflage job. Give it a go yourself. There's some really high-end stuff out there with different Cerakotes, and there's kind of a cheaper option, and that's to do it yourself, and maybe try throwing just a single coat on the piece that you're looking to change the color of. As you use it, as you take it to the range, as it bounces around the bag, things will kind of wear. You'll see where you might need to add more coats in the future if you want a nice even finish. Maybe you like it to look a little bit beat up, so that's cool too. So yeah, I'd say spray paint's cheap. Try a couple different things. Try a camo pattern, whether that's with a laundry bag or that's with local foliage. You can get creative. You can get the whole family involved. Make it a little art project. Paint up maybe your deer hunting rifle. Maybe it's starting to snow and you want something that's a little more seasonal. So you try like a snow pattern or something like that you don't see so often. So let's give that a try. That's a fun one.
Alrighty.
I've got two more here. One of them is kind of related to the training classes. It's a little bit self-serving. From time to time, I'll make it out to classes to take photos for people, and people really like to see those online. If you go to a class and there's a photographer out there, more often than not, they will put them up online somewhere, and you can download copies or prints. We love seeing our work printed out, and so I would encourage you to do that. If you go to a class and you had a great time, order up some prints from the photographer so you can hang them in your safe, in your gun room, at the office if you can get away with that. Yeah, exactly. So support your tactical photographers, and maybe get something for a loved one that you know has been through a class. If you can track down the link of the gallery, I think that's something that they'd love to see, to remember that class more than just a certificate. And then the last one is something that I actually already got for my dad. He's been wanting to do an AR build. He doesn't have one yet, and he was kind of throwing around the option of a couple different off-the-shelf carbines. And I thought it'd be more fun if I brought kind of a bag of tools out for Christmas, and we put one together ourselves. So I got a lower parts kit, and he and my brother and I are gonna see if we can cobble together a build for him here right after Christmas.
Now, does your brother have an AR?
He doesn't know. He's still at college, and he's one of those places where they kind of frown upon having firearms in the dorms.
He goes
But
to a liberal university
yeah,
somewhere on the
yeah,
East Coast.
West Coast actually.
Well, okay. Yeah, I can see that too.
Yeah,
That really sucks. You need to get these people out of the dark ages. I'm very surprised and shocked that, as big a fan as you are, you have not pulled them out of the mire and the muck by their bootstraps.
yeah, yeah.
Well, I guess this Christmas is the year, huh?
Yep. We'll see how many of them we can get hooked.
Well, JD, you want to pipe in with your thoughts for your holiday gift guide for our listeners?
I'm sorry, guys. I'm breaking up here for a second.
I still have you on audio.
Okay. All right. Good thing I know the guy that edits the show, right?
Oh, yeah, that's absolutely true.
For mine, I was just thinking about, and you know,
Oh, you're fuzzy again now. JD.
I think we're gonna have to fix that one in post.
Absolutely.
We got no JD.
I think he's still talking. These must be like the first couple of syllables in his
just want to put mine up on. We're already to.
What? Oh, there he
JD.
goes.
Oh, he's gone.
It's a good thing that we have him doing the editing.
If we can do some sort of cut mark to know, hey, this needs to be fixed right there.
All
There
right,
he is.
JD. Are you back?
Yeah, I think that's what happens when your kids come home and they decide to turn on Netflix.
Absolutely. That always does.
Anyways, I was saying, I was looking for some ideas that I'd want my wife to get involved in or to give, and one of those was a range membership. I live outside of Las Vegas. There's a lot of desert, a lot of open BLM land around that you can shoot on, but every once in a while you run into one of the BLM guys, and it's never been a really awesome experience. So just changing from shooting out in the open desert to actually going to a good range, and make sure you do some research on that. The Boulder City Gun and Pistol Club, a great place. In fact, I believe SHOT Show Media Day is where that's held out there. And really, for a safe place, an organized place, a clean place to shoot, it's only $125 for a year. That's for a first-year membership, and I believe it goes down to 75 or 100. So that should be kind of on par of what you're paying across the board. You can either pay for it outright, or get a gift certificate or something like that. But also knowing that your loved one has a safe place to shoot probably puts you at a little bit of ease too when you're out there. So that's one of the great gifts you can give. Another is, I see the pictures go up every week on our Facebook page over at the AR-15 podcast Facebook page about Otis Technology and the tools that they're giving away for cleaning. Cleaning stuff is great for any gun guy, whether you're shooting AKs, rifles, pistols, AR.
JD, I think you should tell the kids that Netflix is off limits for a little while. JD, you there?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was totally blocked out there. Lots of just clipping, lagging, and no sound.
Man, I don't know.
Try it again. Let's try it again.
All right. So the first one I got up here is a range membership. Going out to a range near me instead of the desert is kind of what I've started to prefer. Um, the Boulder City Pistol and Rifle Club is about 20 miles away from me. Safe place, clean place to shoot. I believe Media Day from SHOT Show is held out there, so it's a nice range. And I was kind of shocked that the membership fee is only $125. And that's kind of a cool thing if you're the spouse of a shooter, or you have the kids go out to shoot, or you go shoot yourself. You're going to be in a pretty secure and safe area where people that are like-minded and take safety seriously. They've got safety and range officers out there. So that's kind of one of those gifts that you give for the shooter and your family, and it also gives you peace of mind. Second, we always need to clean our guns. It's habit. It's something that we'll have to do when we go out shooting and we bring them home. So Otis, one of the partners here at the AR-15 podcast, they've got some great products that just across the board you're able to take advantage of, because they've got something for everything. They've got a giveaway here every week. If you're not lucky enough to win one of those, you can check it out over at their website. From like $54 to $150 is where their kits run, and they've pretty much got a kit for every kind of rifle or firearm that you can imagine that you can shoot. So check them out over there. The link in the show notes, and cleaning kits, you really just can never go wrong with that. Reed, is it still sounding decent?
Absolutely. I would say run with it.
Okay. Next on my list, I have two problems, actually three. I buy anything that the guys talk about on the AR-15 podcast.
Oh, and then we lost you. Well, JW, I think we might have to have JD do his content separately. Maybe we can come in with a couple of
I'm trying an AR shooter.
Recorded after the fact.
Hey, you there, JD?
Yeah, I'm here.
It did it again.
Goodness,
No,
I'm just gonna have to edit in my spot there.
Well, that's what I was wondering. Should JD and I just go, yeah, for a little while? You can add in the appropriate, exchange word. Yeah, we can do that if we need to.
Yeah, I'm sorry, guys. I don't know what's going on tonight.
That's quite all right.
All right, I will just, you know what? I'll step off, and I'll just, if you send me the...
Stay here.
Okay.
You'll be here, and, when Mark edits the video, you'll probably have to go hand in hand with him to help him find all the tricky spots.
All right, I could do that.
All right. And then I guess listeners, we'll just have to apologize because the internet gremlins and so forth are just picking on JD tonight. So, well, in the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and get started with my list. And JD, maybe we can tackle yours at the end and see if time is going to be your friend.
Okay.
Let's see. Something I came across not too long ago was a new safety. It's from Elftman Tactical, and Elftman has a line of triggers that have some pretty interesting configurations. I've never actually fired one of his triggers, but I did get in the mail my early Christmas present, the Elftman Tactical, not Elftman Tactical, yes, the Elftman Tactical ambidextrous speed safety. And it's just like the push-button safeties that we're all familiar with in virtually any number of other rifle, shotgun configurations, but now it's available for the AR. And it is a very satisfying feel to it. It has a very comforting interaction with your trigger, so it feels like a very solid lockup on the safety. Certainly it keeps the weapon from firing. So at this point, I don't have any concerns. It's clear when you look at it through this. This is a Hyperfire Hypertrain. I guess it's a, what do you call this? It's a
Like a cutaway demo thing.
It's a fire control group demonstrator, but it shows you inside the way that it's manufactured, and so it's pretty clear to see how comfortable the engagement is on the safety. So I don't have any real anxiety about the newness of the accessory. So I'm gonna go with wanting to get one of these, but I think it's a really kind of a neat application of something that a lot of people are familiar with in other rifle and shotgun configurations, and why not in the AR? If you can do it, I think it's great. And of course, the number 2 would be the actual fire control group demonstrator that I've got here. And this is from Hyperfire. Once again, they make triggers as well, but their fire control group demonstrator here is just a really interesting device for being able to get in there and understand your trigger. And I think that many of you have probably seen this in some form or fashion in some retailers when they let you get your fingers on a trigger before you go in and buy it. But this is the first time I've ever seen anything like this available on Brownells, and at a pretty reasonable price. And I think that more than just being able to demonstrate a trigger, it gives you the ability to dry fire your trigger. The thing that this has over your traditional AR is let's see if I can get in here, a little rubber bumper pad for your trigger to bounce off of, so you can go to town with it all day long, and as you fire it, let's see if I can get this up here, you can pretty easily reset it so you don't have to charge your rifle with the charging handle if you're going to do dry fire drills at home. And if you're going to take your upper off, I wouldn't suggest having your hammer slam against the back of your mag well all day long. You never know when that's going to fail. So it's just a very interesting application, I think, that has kind of off-books benefits that weren't really part of the brochure. So those are my first 2 picks for tonight. The next thing is something that I wanted to point out is up on the Brownells website right now, and this is a DPMS lower parts kit without the trigger group. And these days I don't think there's any point to getting a lower parts kit with the trigger group, fire control group, simply because I think more often than not, I change them. I never installed them, and so I think that that's probably a trend when you start looking at $45 and $65 replacement options coming from ALG Defense, and I'm sure that there are a number of other intermediate cost but higher quality triggers out there. So why buy a lower parts kit that's going to have a bunch of components you're going to just stick in a box somewhere and never get to or use? So the comparable kit without the The grip is actually, I think, $5 more than the non-sale price of this one. So, I'm willing to get rid of the A2 pistol grip and just, send it off to be recycled somewhere. But I think at $24.99,
Yep. I like this one.
yeah, it's a pretty good price. I don't think you can beat it too many places. The next thing I have on here, and I'm kind of getting up there. I'm increasing in price now. I'm looking at the Magpul PMag D60 drum magazine, and I've always been a real big fan of Magpul's polymer magazines, and if this drum magazine lives up to the quality of a lot of the other products that they release and sell, it should have all the quality you would want in a drum magazine. Now, I know X Products has a 50-round drum, but it's 3 times the cost of this one. It's just a little pricey at almost $300.
Yeah, this one's real similar to what you're going to pay for like a 60 or 100 round Surefire mag, but in the drum form factor. So something that you might be like sitting on a bipod or on a rest on like a shooting bench, or in a if you've got full auto package and you've got more of like a single position light machine gun sort of role that you're trying to fill, the drum magazine might be a better form factor for you if you're closer to the ground.
Oh, absolutely. And Magpul claims, I don't know for certain, but their claim is that in terms of its dimension, it is no longer from the bottom of your mag well than a standard 30-round magazine. So that puts you right in there. Of course, you've got the drum that's potentially interfering with your forearms depending on how it is you're holding your weapon, but I think you can figure that one out. So I think that's a good gift. They just shipped to retailers. Obviously, a lot of people have been waiting for it. They were talked about back in January. There might have been a substantial list started already, but you may be able to find them on some of the normal secondary market avenues, like a gun broker. I don't know, does eBay sell magazines, or are they totally anti anything AR?
I doubt they'd have any.
Well, if you can find them out there, I think it's probably worth the buy. And you may still be able to get something in by Christmas, because I'm sure Magpul is not blind and deaf to the fact that people want to buy their stuff. So I'm sure they're making these in as high a quantity as they can, as fast as they can. The next item I have here is the LWRCI Ultra Compact Individual Weapon Stock System.
Nice.
UCIW. Now, this is what I have on my rifle, and we have talked in a number of shows about these short stocks. We've talked about a number of the things that appear to be the case with implementing these and using these in terms of operating the rifle, and is the rifle going to function with what is a non-standard design for buffer tubes and buffers and bolt carrier groups. But this configuration on my rifle essentially has not caused me any problem for my 300 Blackout. I haven't had to get crazy with any of the configurable components to my cycling system, my gas system, anything. The remaining components are all stock, and it functions flawlessly. So whatever it is that they have designed into the ultra compact stock, it's working great for me. One of the advantages that you have in this one over some of the other ones is the price. At $129.99 compared to, for instance, my next choice, it's easily a third, less than a third of the cost of the Troy Industries stock. But I think this is a really good option when it comes to getting a stock, a compact stock. And then, of course, my next choice is the Troy Industries PDW stock kit. And this is, I would say, I'd say it's the gold standard. JW, what do you think? Is this the gold standard right now?
Sorry, which one?
The Troy Industries PDW stock kit.
Yeah, I mean, people, I guess, complain about them being a little intimidating on the shoulder end, as far as kind of eating up your shoulder a little.
Right.
Some guys kind of shave them down or kind of mill them down a little bit so they're not quite so pointy. But yeah, you've been seeing these all over the place.
Well, I think if they would go to the rifle range not wearing wife beaters, they probably wouldn't be quite as delicate. No, I'm just teasing. I think that really when it comes down to the capabilities that are kind of present in the two systems, you're going to get comparable length from your stock. I think these are probably almost identical in length. If not, they're really close. But, the LWRCI version is just a standard, probably polymer or some kind of a plastic stock like every other butt stock made by Magpul and, everybody else in the industry. So it doesn't have the weight that Troy's aluminum one does. It has a rubber padding, and you don't have to modify your bolt. You don't have to do anything to any other part of your rifle. You just put on whatever is in the kit, and you're ready to go. So Troy, their PDW stock kit requires you to replace the bolt carrier group with their bolt carrier group. So you begin to have some redundant parts sitting in a parts bin because you've just installed this kit. So, there is some give and take there if this is a replacement to an existing setup versus if this were the starting point to a new build when all you're doing is using their bolt carrier group instead of you buying another one. I think that can make the cost a little less steep. I think you're probably going to spend anywhere from $130 to $200 for a good bolt carrier group. So, that can make the price on this look a lot more reasonable if you factor that in. But I do think that it is a very good design. I haven't put hands on it. I'm trying to work that out here in the next little bit. But, when it comes down to it, it's just a function of what you're willing to try out. And frankly, with Brownell's 100% satisfaction guarantee, if this stock doesn't meet your expectations, I don't see a problem with sending it back. So that is where I am with my holiday gift giving guide. Maybe we can see if JW can step in here and offer some of his suggestions.
You mean JD?
I'm sorry, JD. Did I say JW?
Yeah, it's James will probably work. That way we don't confuse you too much, Reed.
Well, but they're both James.
Yeah. I'm going to have to duck out, though, guys.
All right.
Finish.
Have a good evening, JW.
Take care, man.
All right, JD, we're going to give it another shot and see if the internet gremlins are going to come and bugger this up for you.
All right, so my list includes some things that I was thinking about that I would like. Also, Reed and JW had several things on their list that I was considering, but being last to the party, I had to come up with some other options. One cool thing is a range membership. I like the ability to go shoot in a safe, clean environment that's set up for actually shooting. I do like going out to the desert, being outside of Las Vegas. There is a lot of BLM land out there, but sometimes that comes with a lot of hassle. You can have run-ins with some law enforcement out there that may not understand the complete rules or that you're actually allowed to shoot out there, so it can be a hassle. Plus, unfortunately, people tend to use the desert for a dump sometimes. So being out at a range, you're safe, you're able to shoot, you're going to be out there with like-minded people. So that's probably a really great gift to give. The Boulder City Pistol and Rifle Club is the one I'm looking at, and it's in Boulder City. The SHOT Show Media Day, I believe, is held out there. And their membership for 1 year is $125, and I believe that includes also a first-time fee if you're a first-time member. So that's what I'm looking at, kind of the range of the membership price I'm looking to pay, and it gives you kind of a peace of mind if you're going out with your shooting spouse or your shooting family members. You're going to be at a place where shooting's acceptable. They've got berms, they've got things set up that will make the experience better than maybe going out to shoot in the desert or out in the forest or something like that. So you can check out range memberships in your area. Also, cleaning up after going shooting is one of those things that we all have to do. And sometimes those are the tools and the things we want to buy the least because they're not as fun as some of the other things. Otis Technology that partners with the AR-15 podcast, they have a ton of awesome cleaning kits and cleaning tools that you can use. They have everything for the shooter in your family that's looking to clean their ARs, their AR-10s, shotguns, rifles, pistols, whatever they've got. Otis has got something for you. So there's two ways you can do it. You can go over to the Facebook page, facebook.com/AR-15 podcast, try to win one of the weekly drawings from Otis Technology, or you can go to their website and check out their kits. They range from $54 to about $150. The next thing on my list, very important for me, I like to buy a lot of certain things. Lowers is one of the things. I seem to find a deal on lowers every other day. And PMags. You could never have enough PMags. I remember several years ago, I bought a couple PMags a couple days later. When Newtown happened, the price for PMags went through the roof. I was very thankful. I had to wait a while, but I was able to get them at the $14 a piece I paid for them back then. And ever since then, it's something, if I find a good deal on PMags, it's something I want to pick up a couple more to add to my safe for my ammo box. Brownells has them at a great price right now, about $12 a piece. They also have a larger pack, a 10-pack that you can get that is just averages about that $12 a piece. So if you have an AR shooter in your family, PMags, great stocking stuffers, great presents under the tree. You can never have enough mags.
Well, you know what?
Yeah.
JD, I think that one phrase really kind of encapsulates that whole theory, and that's dollar cost averaging. If PMags are going to go from $12 to $120 in any given presidential cycle, you might as well just buy a few every so often so that on average they will be a lower cost.
Yeah, I mean, there's some you could actually do this now and prepare for next Christmas. You buy about 5 PMags, you set them aside, and election cycles tend to send everything haywire. And you give your shooter and your family, your AR shooter, a 5-pack of PMags. They're going to think you're amazing for being able to come up with these when things kind of go in that cycle again.
Well, for that matter, if you buy yourself a 5-pack and the wrong party gets elected to the White House, you may very well be able to sell them all and have yourself a nice holiday cruise.
Absolutely. Those prices after Newtown in that December, I think the highest I saw was like $89 for one PMag. I mean, that's just one. So a $12 investment right now, so you can have something that, elections change who's in power, people in power make laws. Look at Colorado right now. They're not allowed to have, 30-round PMags that are manufactured after a certain date. So a good investment that your shooter will appreciate and be able to use down the road. This next one's kind of my Christmas wish list. Really want an AR chambered in 308, and I found a killer deal on a builder set from Aero Precision, with the upper, the lower, and then the key mod handguard for $350. Kind of ties in with my next one. We can be difficult to shop for because we all have likes, we all have dislikes, we have the things we want to get, and sometimes it's extremely specific like this. So don't be afraid to either ask, say, hey, what are some of the things you'd like? What would help you in your shooting hobby? What things do you need? Or to just give straight cash, because if I walked up to my wife and said, I want an M5 builder set with a 15-inch key mod handguard in black, and she'd look at me like I just said something about internet specs or something. She'd look at me like I was an alien. So don't be afraid to ask. One. Second, cash is great. You can give cash because we can be a pain in the butt to shop for. Also, gift cards, gift certificates, those things, those work really well, and you are going to make your shooter light up, because they're going to, as soon as they open that, they're going to go, I know exactly what I want to spend this on. Classes. Yeah.
Now, hold on a second. I want to point out that as far as gift cards go, you can go to Brownells and you can buy either a gift card or an e-gift card for your significant other. I mean, really, what better way to provide a gift card than to provide a gift card to a Brownells that really has anything your AR loving significant other would want? I mean, that's a heck of a deal.
And think about that e-gift card. You don't even have to leave the house. You don't have to wait in line. You don't have to fight somebody for a deal. I'm looking at it right now. You can have it emailed to them, or sent through the normal mail, and you can request the date you want it to send. So all sorts of cool stuff there. If you want to hook up that person with a Brownells gift card, you can go to their site. It's brownells.com, and just type gift cards in the search box, and it'll take you right to that page. So just as good as cash, and Brownells seriously has everything you could need or want. JW touched on training classes, very important. Here in Las Vegas, we have a cool kind of setup. It's SWAT Concepts. I know the husband and wife that own the organization, and I plan on in 2016 taking their rifle and their pistol class. It is really important to train with the weapons that you are using in sport, in recreation, and maybe even in home defense. World's kind of crazy today. You don't know when a certain town is going to be turned into a place where you need to defend your life. And if you have a truck gun, or if you're at home and you have your AR, you want to be able to understand some of the things you're going to go through, some of the psychological and physical things that your body is going to go through, as well as trying to use your motor skills to defend yourself, your family, your loved ones, your friends in one of those high stress situations. So classes like that, SWAT Concepts is near me here in Las Vegas. I'm sure there are great training opportunities all over our country. Just make sure you do your research on your trainer and where you're getting help at. You want to make sure that they're well respected. You want to make sure you can read reviews and see testimonials on who has gone to their stuff, what has been done, and make sure they're legit, because as there's a bunch of really awesome trainers, legit people out there, there's also a lot of fakes. There's also a lot of people that are masquerading to know more than they actually do. So you want to make sure you're going to somebody that has a good track record and that could really teach you the things you want to learn. Lastly, it is cold out here. I know I live in the desert and everybody thinks it's 120 in Vegas year round, but it is windy and it is cold, and shooting right now is not fun. So my favorite pair of gloves are getting worn out. They are mechanics wear gloves. I got these at, I believe, Home Depot for about $25. They're a great stocking stuffer for somebody you've got in your home, somebody that goes out shooting, whether it's hot or cold. Sometimes the ARs heat up in the summertime, and it's just comfortable to wear gloves out there. They're really able to manipulate. They're made for mechanics, so the fine moving of tools and things like that works really well to operate the controls on my ARs and on my pistols. So that's kind of my suggestion Christmas list. Maybe there's some specifically for me on there, but you can check those out in the show notes of this program.
Well, that looks pretty darn awesome. Well, I don't know if there's much more that we can add to that. And, I think that there's nothing wrong with going back to some of the older gift-giving guides. Nothing in those guides has become old news or, I don't know, an off-limits suggestion. So, maybe go revisit one of those and you can surprise your significant other with something that he didn't think you were going to get him off of this list. But, it is a very, very broadly supported thing, this love of the black rifle. And so I don't think that you will have any trouble finding someone, a little something that relates to it if you try. So I guess with that, JD, do you want to try a couple of bits of feedback?
Yeah, absolutely. We got Eric that wrote in. Listening this morning, some excellent ideas and comments on the truck gun show is what he's referring to. I was surprised when no one suggested using an AR with a 14.5-inch barrel and a Law Tactical AR folding stock adapter, which I believe is on JW's. Is this really his Christmas gift guide or his Christmas list?
I think it's his Christmas list. I think he's looking for his wife to very gingerly get in there and find him the gift that he wants her to find, but you never can tell.
So that Law Tactical folding stock is on JW's wish list, Christmas list there, and you can find the link there. I agree that you should go with an AR that is not budget because you want it to work when you need it. Assuming you are needing it to get your truck or trunk gun because you're no longer safe without it. I would also look to add a chest rig or soft body armor or even a Team Wendy helmet, extra magazines for your AR, pistol, and what about a fixed blade knife? All great suggestions, Eric. The budget for me was just not throwing a $2,000 or $3,000 AR in the back of my truck that's going to get bumped around. I like the suggestions of the other thing. I hadn't thought about the chest rig to be able to help you going, but Reed, what do you think? When I'm trying to get home for my truck gun stuff, I think I just want to get home and kind of want to blend in and be able to almost try to be invisible. But maybe some of this other stuff may make me stick out, or may even make me a target for law enforcement if they saw me doing that. What are your thoughts on that?
I think here's the difficult issue that I think you're always going to face. When it comes down to it, there is no pattern response. It's not a simplistic, it's not tic-tac-toe where if you see an X in this spot, you just put an O in that spot. It's so much more complicated, fluid, dependent on variables that even in your best moments, you may not even come close to conceptually arriving at enough of them to matter. You just have to know that what you have with you is something enough to satisfy the immediate need and that you are able to use it to great effect. So your number one weapon is going to be your brain situational awareness, being able to adapt and overcome, being able to improvise, and being able to, problem solve. When you come with those kinds of things, the details really matter less and less. I mean, yeah, there are some niceties. A chest rig, yeah, that's real convenient. It is, getting around that. But, you're just not going to always have people that will conceive of the solution to the problem in the same way. So, I think you have to do what you think is best in your situation. And that makes it hard from this side of the mic to throw out a bunch of suggestions. Yeah, I think you're probably better off having enough knowledge and information, enough flexibility in your thinking and problem solving to get by than you are to have 2 Foot Lockers full of the best gear out there, because 2 Foot Lockers full of gear without any of those other things is really going to amount to dead weight. So I do think there's some good suggestions here, and you just have to be willing to incorporate them into what your knowledge base allows.
Good thoughts. My only suggestion would be to check the laws in your state about a fixed blade knife. I know those vary from state to state, and I wouldn't want anyone to get in trouble for carrying something that maybe their state is different than the next one or the one you just came from. So make sure you check your local laws when it comes to fixed blade knives and things like that.
They just recently made, I think they call them automatic opening knives or switchblades, legal here in the state of Texas.
Wow.
I don't know that they made them legal. They made them no longer illegal. So I guess that is the same thing. Here, Josh Burgess, I think in response to the same show, episode 148, wrote in, and I'm paraphrasing here. I'm not really sure that I get the gist of Josh's original question, but he says, how you guys were talking about the truck gun, I'm not sure if I missed it or you weren't talking about how long you should keep ammo before changing it out. So, I would say you should be fine keeping ammo in your vehicle almost indefinitely. It should be dry, more than likely not subject to any humidity or open standing water. So I think that's probably going to be your biggest concern with ammunition. The heat, I don't know that it's going to be a concern as much as one would think. I think that if you were to conceive of it, I'm not thinking that the greatest bulk of ammo depots in the desert are in air-conditioned settings. And so they're more than capable of storing large quantities of ammunition, I'm assuming, in the desert, and without any fear that you're going to have some detonations. I would say it's possible that, if you were to stick a magazine in a truck, like here in Texas, when it's 105 outside, it's probably 130 inside. And maybe if you dropped it into a rifle, you might have some changes to your ballistics because of the temperature that you are operating at now. But I don't know that that's going to be a critical issue. So I wouldn't worry too much. But if you are worried, or if you are inclined, I think just a regular regimen of periodically clearing out whatever ammo you have, using it up and replacing it with new wouldn't hurt. And certainly if there's something that we're not aware of or that we've missed, it would resolve that question for you. So Josh, we appreciate you writing in, and thanks for your question.
Yeah. For me, I take just when I go shooting, I just rotate them out. Just the mags that I just loaded to go shooting, just replace the ones in my truck. So kind of keeps it on a semi-regular rotation.
We see that's pretty good. Well, that's the feedback we have for this week. So do you want to turn to the Otis Technology giveaway here?
Sure. The fine folks at Otis Technology have sent over a ton of their maintenance tools, cleaning kits for the AR-15 and the AR-10, and we have been giving them away all year. You can watch for the special posts on Facebook and Instagram for your chance to win some great products made by Otis Technology. We'll be giving away a complete MSR cleaning kit in either 5.56 or 7.62 in the middle of each month up until Christmas, when we'll give away a complete Otis Technology Elite Cleaning System. I was checking it out today while we were making our list for the show. It looks really cool. It'd make a great Christmas present. And during the alternating weeks, we'll be giving away a host of other Otis tools and cleaning supplies. You can find the posts at facebook.com/SOS or AR-15 podcast. That's what happens when you have so many social media sites, or on Instagram at AR-15 podcast. Want to thank this week's winner, Larry Cunningham. Thank you so much for commenting and sharing that Otis post, and we will be getting in contact with you here soon.
All righty. Well, with that, it looks like we are done. So I guess we can go ahead and close out the show if there's nothing to add. Send us any questions or comments you have at the feedback at ar15podcast.com email address. You can also send us a recorded voicemail by using the SpeakPipe plugin on the right-hand side of the AR-15 podcast website. And I'm going to let JD handle the rest of this because this is all that internet stuff that I failed in my adult life.
You can subscribe and listen to the AR-15 podcast for free on iTunes or on Stitcher. Leave us a review there so the show could place higher for other searches when people are listening for looking for content on their favorite black rifle. You can follow us at Instagram, as we mentioned before, at AR-15 podcast. Tag your pictures with AR-15 podcast so we can see them and comment and like. Check us out on Periscope. JW is training, and I see the pictures on Facebook all the time, and I'm extremely jealous. So I live vicariously through the Periscope app when he turns it on at AR-15 podcast and shares some of his training stuff and stuff that's going on in his world. Check us out at the YouTube page, youtube.com/AR-15 podcast. Follow us on Facebook. You guys are awesome interacting over there and helping each other out and giving ideas on builds and things that are going on. It's facebook.com/AR-15 podcast. Make sure you check out the other great podcasts on the Firearms Radio Network. And don't forget to use the Brownells affiliate link for all your AR-15 parts needs. That's AR-15podcast.com/parts. It also will be great if you're looking to fulfill some of those Christmas wish lists. And also the Amazon affiliate links on the firearmsradio.tv and AR-15 podcast websites. You can check it out there. Read. What a great Christmas list show. I think my list got a little bit bigger with your guys' suggestions. So now it's time to see if I can't get the wife to increase the Christmas budget.
Now, should we put a disclaimer that we're not responsible for the decisions made by people outside of our direct control?
We're still good. You know what? I will take the blame.
All right.
If it gets you the tool and the thing that you need for your AR for this Christmas, I'll take the blame.
Well, see, there you are, stepping in and taking one for the team.
Absolutely.
Well, guys, it's not too long before Christmas is going to be upon us, so we'll be getting into the holiday mood and seeing where we go from here. So, everybody, have a good week, and we will talk to you soon.
This has been a production of the Firearms Radio Network. You can find more information at firearmsradio.tv.